It's October 30th, Saturday night, the night before Halloween, and we're just about to sit down to dinner. Actually, Beth is already seated for dinner, and she's in the middle of eating some noodles and pork chops and just generally having a good meal. And right next to me is a very nice little girl, and I think you might even know her. You want to talk there, little girl?
Yeah.
Talk a little louder, sweetie.
Hi.
You want to say something to Mom and Papa?
Yeah.
What would you like to say to them?
Tell them thank you for my wagon.
Oh, that's very nice.
Thank you for my wagon.
And there's another little girl here to the other side of me that you also may know.
Hello. We just heard the tape that you sent us an hour ago.
Thank you for my wagon.
Emily enjoyed the questions that you gave her, and she got all of them except for the cat. She didn't recognize the cat. And I really enjoyed hearing the tape from Grandpa Madoff. It made me cry. It was sad to hear how lonely he was, to remember. But I was really glad to hear it.
My sister is very good.
And it's really nice that we have that tape now. It's one of the nice things about making tapes.
Thank you.
We're making this recording
Thank you.
okay, sweetie, before Halloween, and I guess one of the reasons is to be, and I told you so, after the election we'll be ones who predicted the Carter victory, even though everyone's talking about the trends for the
Thank you for my wagon.
Emily, I think you said it enough. It's really hard to believe that people are really voting for Ford, in light of the fact he's done nothing. The economic indicators are all down. Plus, he chose that absolute nut as a vice president, Robert Dole. Can anyone really vote for them after seeing Dole in action the last couple of weeks? I noted that Carter is really pushing Mondale an awful lot, and they refer to him an awful lot now that he apparently is the most popular of all four candidates. That's Beth in the background. You can hear. I'm not feeding her quite fast enough for her taste. We sat down today and looked at the possible scheduling for when we could come to Los Angeles during Christmas time. I think Beck and I agree that we're definitely going to come. The only hesitation we have is that it's so very much money, and we'd only be able to stay for a relatively short period, maybe 10 or 12 days. Of course, we'd love to see you, but we're just hesitant about spending all that much money. Well, we'll talk to you on the phone in the next day or two, and see how what we all decide to do.
Why they're not talking?
Yeah, they're just going to listen, just like we listened when we got the tape from them. I'm going to carry the ball on this part of the tape, and then Becca will come on when she sits down to dinner. She's just making a salad right now. I think I mentioned to you before that the tenure decision for me is being made really any time now. I should know within the next 2 weeks or so. I guess it's possible that there'll be a real surprise, but Emily, please. But I can't believe it in light of conversations I've had with the dean and with everyone else, but I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I wrote David a long letter the other day, knowing that he's about to get the LSAT scores any time now. I wrote to him saying that I thought first of all, he's likely did much better than he thought he did. If he didn't, he could certainly still take it again and maybe do far better the second time around. But even if he didn't do so well, and he couldn't get into the specific law school he applies to, there's so many fine law schools throughout the country, state schools and private schools, that I just don't think it's something for him to be concerned about. I just see all these first-year students and the seniors and undergraduate here, and I'm sure it's true at UCLA too, who get so caught up in the competition that they're just shattered if they don't do as well as they want to do. And I know David won't get into that, and I just wanted to be sure he doesn't, because he's such a level-headed guy. I'm going to sign off for a little bit while we start eating dinner, and I'm going to turn it over to Becca, who may want to talk for a little bit.
We're eating dinner now.
Delicious dinner.
This evening, well, today, we got a letter for Emily in the mail from Uncle Laurie. And yesterday she got a letter for her birthday from Mama and Papa. She was so excited she brought it to school for show and tell. Today Uncle Laurie sent her a very nice book that he made himself using pictures that he'd taken at a sorority party for Halloween, and writing his own captions with things that were relevant to Emily. And Emily really enjoyed the picture. The last page there was a picture of her Uncle Laurie. And then along with it he sent another picture, not in the book but separate, of Uncle David. It was a really nice picture of David, and we have it hanging here in the kitchen. And Paul was looking at it a few minutes ago and he said, "Gee, that's really a nice picture of David." I said, "Gee, his hair is really thinning out." And Emily turned around and looked at it, and she said, "Gee, you're right, his hair really is thinning out." We thought that was pretty funny.
I scolded me.
You did.
Today was homecoming at
Let's use your spoon. Your fork.
at the university. We beat Wisconsin in our big football game, and we used the homecoming weekend as the opportunity to have the law alumni homecoming as well. And we get a fair number of alumni back.
They all come in for homecoming weekend, not
Yeah.
just to go to law school. I guess that's one of the social functions they attend, though.
So I went there this morning. About a dozen members of the faculty were there this morning, just meeting with them, having coffee. And then we went in for the dean's big send-off. And I must say Cribbett does so very well in these kinds of functions. He went through the accomplishments of the faculty and the students for the last year, introduced all the members of the faculty, and then used that opportunity to make a big pitch for alumni contributions as to what we need for next year to improve over this year. It's so great because he handles them so well, and the alumni are so enthusiastic when they leave. You really get the feeling that we will raise more money. And this past year we raised about $120,000, and a lot of that money is now going to things like extra money for the library, extra research assistance, some money for travel, like for the ALS, and so on. It really is good to see him in action. What the school's going to be like when he finally retires, I don't know, but he sure does handle the operation very well now. Well, let's wait a couple minutes. You want to sing that again now?
Yeah.
Okay, sing it real loud.
B-I-N-G-O had a dog, and Bingo was his name. E-I-N-G-O, E-I-N-G-O. K-I-N-D had a farm, and Bingo was her name. So,
You want to sing any other songs? How about your ABCs? You haven't sung that in a while.
And Bubble Black Sheep.
Okay, one second.
Bubble Black Sheep, heavy and low. Yes, sir, sweet and slow. One for your master, one for your day. One for the little boy crying in the lane. Bubble Black Sheep, heavy and low. Yes, sir, sweet and slow.
That was really good, Emily. Would you like to tell Mama and Papa what we're going to do tomorrow? Do you remember what tomorrow is?
What?
Halloween.
Halloween!
What do we do on Halloween?
Trick or treat!
What does that mean? What do we do when we go trick-or-treating? Do you know?
We go to people's house and they give us
They give us what?
candy.
Oh, boy. Do you like candy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what else we're going to do tomorrow? We're going to make cookies.
We're gonna make cookies.
Right.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, and Y, and Z. Now I said my ABC. Won't you play?
Won't you come and play with me?
Emily, tomorrow is Sunday. Do you know the days of the week? Do you think you could say the days of the week? Sunday, then what comes next?
I know it.
How's it go?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday,
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday. I'm sorry.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday,
Sunday.
Very good job.
Sunday, Monday.
Okay, I think that's enough for right now.
Remember when I was taking French class and I kept on insisting that my name was Belt? Well, now Emily comes home from nursery school and she tells me that in the song Bingo you spell it E-I-N-G-O, and I keep on saying, no, Emily, I think it's B, and she said, no, the teacher says E, and she knows, so she thinks it E-I-N-G-O.
That was little Belt talking. Emily and I are about to carve a pumpkin now. Like last year when you were with us, we went out to a farmer's field, only this was better. We actually went to his field and got a number of pumpkins, and Emily picked her own, and we finished drawing the face on it, and now we're about to carve it. Emily, do you want to do it like this? Here's an eye, and there's an eye, and a nose, and a great big mouth. How's that?
No, I don't want to do it like that.
How do you want to do it?
I'm not going to show you.
You show me how. Put the eye a little higher there. Oh, a little bigger. Okay. Okay, a little more to the side. Okay.
You put a little.
And the nose, what do you want to do with the nose? Oh, you put it over there. Okay. What about the nose, Emily? And what about the mouth? Okay, that's going to look real nice. One of the really great things among the many great things with having a child that I found is you get to sort of relive your youth. I know, Dad, you've mentioned this before with regard to David and how you could really kind of enjoy things more when he was along with you. Emily, sweetie, please don't want that. I'll show you how to do it. It's really true. I mean, the thought of going trick-or-treating with a little kid and doing the pumpkin for Halloween is such a great experience, but you know, who would really do that? Well, Becca might do it, actually go trick-or-treating, but not many adults would really do it. With a child, you have the excuse to do it, even if you wouldn't otherwise do it. Anyway, we're in the midst of carving our pumpkin, and it's a real beauty. Emily really picked out a nice one. So we're kind of busy right now. We'll sign off and get back to you a little later. You want to say goodbye to them?
Goodbye.
Well, it's Sunday morning now. We had daylight savings last night, eliminated, so we got an extra hour. I just don't see why we have that, though, because it's going to be dark today at about 4:45. It just seems terrible to me. It's about 8:30 now. Emily's in the living room watching Sesame Street, and Beth and I are in the kitchen. I'm making Beth's breakfast, a nice soft-boiled egg, and of course for Emily, she'll have her pancakes and sausages. Becca's still sleeping. She's still kind of tired out, I think, from her whole experience in Maine, so on the weekends I'm trying to let her get a little bit more sleep. Today, Emily and I are going to make some cookies, and then we're going to go trick-or-treating. Emily's going to dress up either as a clown or as a monkey. Well, sign off for now. Well, it's Monday night, November 1st, right before the election. And we're celebrating some pretty good news. I just was told by the dean that I've been given tenure by the college, and it goes to the university now for official confirmation, but they've never turned down a recommendation yet, so it's pretty certain that I do have tenure. I have to get letters of recommendation on my behalf from 3 people outside law school. So I think the 3 will be Norm Abrams, Ken Karst, and Judge McGowan.
Here.
And that should really help.
I got a vitamin.
The way they presented it was so very nice. John Cribbett went on and on about how I'm really approaching things right, to spend a lot of time on one subject and not really be too frivolous, unlike the other guy up for tenure who's going through subject after subject, writing all these different law review articles. And he said they decided so quickly because it was just so clear, which really made me feel awfully good.
I just got a vitamin.
We're now going to be recording a few days later. This is Friday, November 11th, 12th. And we're just about to sit down to dinner. It seems like we're always talking while we're eating. Both of the girls haven't been feeling very well the last few days. We've had a little...
Last few months.
Yeah, a few months according to Becca. We've had little colds or bugs of some sort. But Emily's right here, and she'd like to talk to her mama and her papa now. Emily, do you want to talk?
We went to Maine, and it was really fun. That Joe was there, he went to school. I go to school, and Connie goes to school. Everybody goes to school.
Not everybody. Beth doesn't go to school, does she?
Emily does.
Well, that's,
Karina does.
well, that's nice, Emily. Before we put Mommy on, let me just say a couple things to Mom and Papa.
Me too.
Since last we talked, I got a call from Matthew Bender, and I was all nervous thinking that the sample chapter that I had sent to them wouldn't be up to par or something. That was the only reason I could think of it as they would call. Not right now, Emily. But in fact, they liked it a lot, and that wasn't why they were calling at all. They were calling to see if what I thought of an idea for a book from another guy in criminal law. Well, not much else doing on the school front. Rotunda, of all people, and maybe this may explain some of the dean's conversation with me. We just got an offer at George Washington for over $30,000. And now, apparently, we have counter-offered to him, upping his salary about $5,000 more than I would make. So I'm pretty upset about that, yet I can understand it. We'll know next week which offer he took.
That at nursery school we had really fun. That was an evil bully, but we go outside to play, go inside to play, eat cookies and juice, eat milk and juice, eat water and juice,
You eat plenty.
You want to tell Mom and Papa what you did at home today? You made a book with 2 letters.
I make a book of 2 letters.
Which letters?
B and E.
No, not E. B and
A.
A, right. She
How
did a
did you
really
do
good
it?
job.
How'd you do it, Emily?
I put it on some glue. Put it on. That.
Right, you put it on with glue. Okay, Emily, we'll sign off for a little bit and then come back in a few minutes.
Paul says it is my turn to talk on the tape now, but I don't have anything to say. We had a really great time in Chicago last weekend, lived it up in a nice hotel, and met the Chancellor's daughter and her husband for dinner one night at a great Szechuan Chinese restaurant. And another night went out to a Japanese restaurant ourselves. And I really enjoyed our freedom. And on Sunday night when we got home, Emily, as we told you, was sick and has been sick ever since then. This is Friday. And yesterday, when Beth and the light was just beginning to show with in Emily's cold, Beth came down with a high fever, and she's been sick ever since. And I'm sort of discouraged. It seems that I've only been outside on weekdays with the kids 2 or 3 days out of the last 3 or 4 weeks. But hopefully they're going to get this all out of their systems and build us some immunities. That's Beth right there in the background. In the meantime, Emily was so tired she had to go to sleep. I just finished reading The Marathon Man today. It was a great diversion. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see the movie. It's a lot of fun. And other than that, nothing too exciting's been happening. I've just been kept plenty busy by these 2 little girls. That's about it. We're looking forward to our trip to California. I just hope it won't be too much for you. But we think it'll be a lot of fun. It's been really freezing cold here. Today the low was 17 and the high was in the low 30s. And we haven't had a snow yet, but Paul's been riding his bicycle and it's really cold. Well, I think that's about it.
Okay, I'll sign off too. We're going to be seeing you pretty soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Production of Ari was out today.
Oh. What is this, a television or a recorder?
That doesn't work, does it, Larry?
Well, yeah. I believe it'd be technical.
What is this?
It's a tape recorder.
Tape recorder.
So, what was the memory about burying?
Oh, come on.
Esther, that was so nice to have that. I told you that you ought to do that.
No.
Why, Esther?
No, I'm not going to do that.
You know that Gloria did that because she gave a whole history of
I remember this I think was so beautiful. You know, in Wilkes-Barre, we had the shul, and the men, of course, sat downstairs in the pews, and the bima, you know, with the Oren Kodesh, with the, what do they call that, the ark, and the Kehonan, you know, the ones who...
The Cohens?
Yeah. They would cover their heads with their tallis, and oh, it was so beautiful. And as small children, of course, the women sat upstairs, but the children would jump on their fathers'
You got to go in
laps and all.
downstairs to see this.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Oh, well, lots of times you remember certain things.
You know what I thought was so interesting? You told me about your father with his, how he got into business.
Yes. My father, you know, and he used to go around, most of the people were at that generation who had come from Europe, sold dry goods and things, you know, with colds and medicine and whatnot. But he was an eye man.
How did he get to be an eye man? His university training.
No, the whole family were. The whole family. All the other.
How did they get into it?
I don't know.
But you said he had...
Well, now listen. So he had what they call a trial case. It was about this size, and it had lenses, different lenses with the... This was a plus 25, this was a minus 25, this was a 75, you know, different degrees of sight. And all they did, they had like a frame, and they'd stick in a glass in here. If you saw good, fine. That was your prescription.
How do you think doctors do it today, the same way?
Well, it's more or less the same. You put in a lens, and this is, of course, now they put oh, I don't know what they call the thing. They examine the retina and this and that. But when we lived in Wilkes-Barre, we lived in a very nice area there, And next door to us were a non-Jewish family. And my father, every time he'd come home at night, he would clean these lenses, you know, for the next time he went away. Went to the country. And the people next door, the children, used to look through the window and see him. And they said that Mr. Robinson is counting all his money. He might have had a nickel or a dime. But they thought he was counting his money when he was wiping his that. That was really very, it was such a nice feeling then. I say we had so little, but we had so much. I remember for Pesach, they would, everything, you know, you had the wooden tables, it was scrubbed, polished or not, scrubbed. Then on top of that was put boards, and then there was a cardboard on top of that, so there couldn't possibly be any chametz around.
What's chametz?
And chametz is bread, you know, leavened bread. And we used to follow him to the corner where with a little candle, and to be sure that there was nothing in the corners of the room. And how we'd have to, for days, polish the silverware, because if you put them in the ground, it neutralized it somehow or other, so you could use it for Passover. And for weeks, the dishes, you had to have different dishes, you know, you didn't use the same dishes. And the work, and my mother used to make a preserve called einsamach. It was made of beets. And I think of it now, and she would, it's some kind of a delicacy. And it had big walnuts and almonds in it, and lemon. Oh, it was delicious. And there'd be jars of it like that, you know, big containers. And then she used to make another thing that was very beautiful for them, was marin pretzel.
Marin pretzel?
Marin is our carrots. And they'd be cut in diamond shape. And you always made enough to give to your whole family, you know, not just for your own family. Do you remember marin pretzel, Gloria?
What?
Marin pretzel, the carrot candy. You don't?
You don't remember?
Do you remember the einsamach? Made out of beets?
Well, were there nuts in it?
Sure, walnuts and almonds.
I remember that.
Oh, that was really a delicacy. And they also made at that time out of raspberry some kind of a jam that they put in their tea. And we used to sit at the table, and always we had our non-Jewish neighbor, one or two or three or four, in case maybe was with us. And there wasn't a word missed. You read through that whole thing, and in between each paragraph there was an explanation, and of this and of that. And the kids used to sit like this, and you know, one would give a pinch, and one would give a kick, and fall asleep. And we never got through the Seder before 12 o'clock. Then you had to do your dishes. And everybody was so tired, and so, but the dumplings, you know, what do we call them? What do you call them? Knedler. And we call them matzo balls or whatever. They didn't make these little tiny ones you had today. These were as big as a big orange, great big things. And but there was always some neighbors and non-Jews who were present.
What, at the
and you
Passover
sang
dinner?
songs. What?
At the Passover dinner?
Yes.
Why
I mean,
were they there?
you
Just
see, when you
there?
lived in the community like Wilkes-Barre, you were friends with everybody. Your neighbor was really your neighbor. You know, you just didn't say hello or goodbye. He came to your house, you went to his house, and you were really neighborly. And I remember around even Purim, like we're celebrating today, and we'd all have, I remember for Pesach, we always got a new dress, and the boys would get a new pair of pants or something, I don't know. But we always had a new dress. Gloria, do you remember? We'd have a dress with a bertha. That's with a yoke, and it was always a plaid. Always plaid. So beautiful.
Did your family ever have a horse?
What?
Did your family ever have a horse?
We have a horse? No.
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 How'd you get around?
I don't know. They used to rent a buggy, I guess. I really don't know. I never thought of that. You're the only one who wanted a horse. But Laurie, you have this and you have that and oh, so many things. And you came up with, yes, but I don't have a horse. Do you remember that, Gloria?
Yeah.
And what else? I say around Purim time, everybody gave gifts to everybody else. And, the house used to smell with these most delicious odors, you know, of baking things. I remember my father, my mother, well, she didn't get up early. I mean, she wasn't the real housefrau type, you know. She was more of a pritzter. Anyway, every Friday, everyone baked their own bread. And every Friday morning, we would get up to the smell of Sibbelekuchen, onion rolls, my father had made in the morning for us and of course would set the bread. Do you remember my mother's Hamantaschen?
I don't remember hers particularly, no.
Well, she used to make these for Purim.
A humdinger of a
Hamantaschen are the heads, you know, Haman's heads.
Yeah, I vaguely remember some song to do with Hamantaschen.
Yes, Well, my mother used to make that, and oh, it was so, that was the real things. And, there are so many beautiful things. As I say, we were far from having but we always had enough to eat, and we always had enough for the neighbor to come in. And
I thought it was really interesting how your father went around in the little villages selling his glasses, and then your brother went into the business.
I didn't get what you say.
And also how you were the youngest and you never felt that you got enough attention from your family. Tell Larry about that.
I don't get what...
Mom says you were telling her how you were the youngest, and because of that you didn't get enough attention from your family.
No, I never did.
Well, why was that?
I just was, I don't know. Everybody was busy with everybody else or with things. I don't know. I just never...
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
What?
How many brothers and sisters?
Well, we had, there's my brother Sam, who was Miriam and Jeannie's father. He was the oldest. Then there was another brother who passed away, and several passed away. The only ones that I really remembered, even as a young child, were my brother Sam, my brother Jaime, my brother Archie, and Martha, and myself. And then we had this half-sister who was the daughter of my father. My father had been married before. My mother was his second wife. And she lived in Buffalo, and, well, she was married already, and we were just little tots. We didn't even know her, actually. But she used to come and visit. But I didn't know her. I mean, I never felt that she was a sister, because although she was her, we had the same father.
So, how many brothers and sisters were there? About 7 or 8 brothers and sisters?
I imagine there were about 7 of us, but they had all passed away. I don't remember them. I say the only ones that I remembered were Sam and Jaime and Archie and Martha and myself.
Was Martha, my grandmother?
Yes, was your grandmother.
Was she close to your age?
Was she what?
Close to your age, or was she much older?
Oh, no, she was older. She was about, I would say about 6 years older, yeah. And I was a little tag-along, you know. But actually, I don't remember any special endearment or any special care or anything. I remember your grandmother Martha. She had all the special care. Anything she wanted was hers. I don't know why, but
sibling rivalry 78 years later still makes a
well, it's true.
An impact. I mean, your feelings.
Yeah, she was. She always had, when shoes were, perhaps we would get shoes for $1. I don't know how many shoes were, but Martha would only wear walkover shoes, which at that time were considered the best. She had walkover shoes.
What are walkover shoes?
The same as you have today, a ballet shoe.
Ballet?
No, not a ballet, or it's a name of the brand shoe company.
Yeah.
She always had that. But she was, there's so many things I don't know what to tell you about. But I remembered especially the shul, how we used to love to go there, and everyone makes such a fuss. You know, you're all dressed up, and everyone would make a fuss about you because you perhaps looked pretty, or perhaps you looked sweet or young, like we do with Emily.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're cute or something. Yes, I remember back to maybe when I was 3, 4, but it was always in connection with the temple.
Did you ever have any particular religious experiences?
Yes, I think I was always inclined, always, to be religious in the sense that I loved it. I loved the holidays. I loved the feeling that on Shabbos you got dressed up, and you didn't go to shul perhaps, but because we walked miles to go from where we lived in Wilkes-Barre to the shul was at least a 2-hour walk. But no one would think of riding on Shabbos or Yontif. And
did you get much anti-Semitism in your life?
no.
Any at all that you can remember?
I remember any anti-Semitism at all. No, not any at all. I remember though in Wilkes-Barre we used to have large maple trees, and we would put the nails in, you know, for the sap, and put pails and get the sap. We would go nutting. We'd go in the woods for nuts, and in the summer we'd go huckleberrying. I mean, it was an entirely different way of life. And of course, like I say, with me, it was always a matter of tag along. They couldn't get rid of me, not that they wanted me to go log. And I remember Plymouth Rock. That was on the road going up the mountain. There's this tremendous rock, Plymouth Rock, and on a Sunday, you just that was the outing. You always had picnics. You went up to Plymouth Rock. You know, the young people. And what else I tell you? Oh, there's so many things that were really beautiful.
Well,
it was a...
Can you say how are young people different than they are now?
I don't know. Young people...
Do they respect their elders?
They were more obedient, perhaps. I mean, not a question of obedience, rather than this was expected of you and you did it.
Accepted.
Like my brother Archie, who was the sweetest person in the world. It would never occur to him to do anything to be distasteful to his parents. I mean, it just didn't occur to you. You lived a more or less...
Now you think of it all the time?
What dear?
Now this generation thinks of it all the time. Oh.
Yeah. I remember when you went to school, your grandmother, Martha, she was a whiz. She didn't like school. She would play hooky all the time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. When I remember I must have been in the first or second grade, no more than the second grade. And I remember this teacher came to me one day, came to the class, "Where is your sister Martha?" And I said, "I don't know and I don't care." And I was nearly suspended for it.
Oh,
I must have been about 7 years old. I don't know and I don't care. And Mrs. Nutter, her name was. I can see her now in front of me.
Well, were you ever punished at school?
Huh?
Were you ever punished at school?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't ever remember being hit. I remember my father calling, you know, the winters were cold, and we'd be out sledding or something. He'd call us, and if we didn't come, he was very angry with us. He was, sometimes could be too stern, very stern.
But he didn't hit you? But he didn't hit you?
I wouldn't be surprised if we were hit once in a while. Yes, I think we were. I don't remember, you know, but I'm sure we were, because I remember he used to take his strap off, you know, his belt, and whack. The boys perhaps more than, I don't ever remember being actually hit. What else is there? Oh, there's so many things to think about. It was really a good life. It was a good life. We always had enough, but never overabundance. If you got a new dress, it was an occasion. And sometimes you had hand-me-downs. Everything I had was a hand-me-down. Martha would get all the new things, and I'd get all the hand-me-downs. I was very much the, you know, the follow me.
Yeah.
Is this thing going?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'll take it off.
The tape recorder?
I don't want to talk about
Okay.
it. And many more interesting things. I remember we had a backyard, and there was a plum tree. And in the plum tree, the birds would come, and every year the same robin would come. And one year it died. It fell off the tree or something, and we had a burial of this poor little bird. Oh, how vividly I remember this. We got a shoe box, you know, a little or cigar box, I don't remember which, and we buried it, and we had a real procession and buried this poor little robin, and the tears that flowed. Oh, but it made such an impression upon me. I remember we used to go to, we lived this was in Syracuse. We moved away from there when I was about 4 years old, so you see how, I still remember there was the Greens, and there also was the university was up over Renwick Avenue, and it came down to Renwick Avenue, and there was a cemetery on Renwick Avenue. We used to go to the cemetery and pick the flowers.
That's handy.
And we always had a bouquet of flowers. That was the, and oh, the hills and the neighbors. It was very beautiful.
Do you think we're any better off today with our better standard of living?
Well, as I say, we were very, very moderately circumstanced. We didn't have too much. My father wasn't too much of a provider. His whole life was a shul.
Oh, he was a religious man?
Yes, everybody was religious. I mean, this was a period in Jewish life where, well, you were religious, or you went to shul, you took care of the things that belonged to a shul, you tried to help people who were less fortunate even than you were, even though you were very, well, I won't say you weren't poor, but you were certainly very, very moderate. There were some people who were even less.
Where did he get his money?
My brother Sam, Miriam's father, was the one who actually kept the family going. But my father, as I told you, he went around, he was with these eyeglasses, and he used to come home with butter and cheeses and silverware. You know, people perhaps didn't have money, but they traded in material things.
Well, what did Sam do to earn a living?
He was an optician. By that time, he had, he went to school. He learned to, an eyes examination. He had a very good business at one time. And I say the whole family were opticians. The cousins, they all
Was your
came.
father an optician?
Well, he was only what I told you. He had this thing, and he put a lens in the frame, and if you saw, fine. If you didn't see fine, he'd take another one. You know, this was the way they did it. But of course, Samuel by that time had gone to school and really was very good as an optician. And what else? Oh, there's so many things. It's all muddling, hopping one right over the other. But you had your sad moments and your good moments. I remember when I graduated from high school, I was going to go to school, go to college, and although Martha was, I guess I'd say she must have been about 6 years older, because there was one between, Archie came after me, and then before me, and then there's one before Archie. There are several before, in between. As I say, I didn't know them. They passed away even before I knew what this was all about. But I was supposed to go to school, to college, they didn't go to college, and they went to normal school. No, because I was a better student than Martha at that time. And out of a clear blue, Martha decided, no, she's going to become a teacher. And she went to school. Well, she went, and that was the end of me.
So why couldn't you both go?
Yeah, why couldn't
What, dear?
Why couldn't you both go?
Where are you going to get the money?
Oh, you had to pay to go to school?
Oh, you had to pay your board, sure. Sure you did.
Why do you think my mother went?
I say, a few years after she got out of high school, she decided she wanted to be a teacher. So a teacher she became. She went to Stroudsburg Normal School.
And so that cut you out from being a teacher?
What, dear?
So you were not able to do it?
I wasn't. I couldn't afford two people to be away.
So what did you do at that point?
So at that time, I worked for my brother. I worked in his store. You know, waited on people. You showed frames and this and that. And Martha went to school for 2 years. And then after that, when I graduated high school, I got a job with the Talmud Torah. That's, the Hebrew school. And I was there for a long time, over 20 years.
Did you like doing that?
I loved it.
What were you doing?
I was in the office, but I never was just in the office. I always took part in all the children's plays and extra reading, this, that, the different little things you can do. I remember I used to, even in high school, I used to cross the bridge. You never were in Wilkes-Barre, were you? Well, there's the Susquehanna River there. And on one side was Wilkes-Barre, and on the other side was Kingston. And there was what do they call it? A recreation place there, where Kingston had a lot of people, the Polish and a lot of Polish people, a lot of per people, just plain per people. And I used to go over the settlement house, that's the word I want. I used to walk, I'd never think of riding on Shabbos. I used to walk across that bridge in the cold winters so I'd be able to tell stories and do the little things in settlement work. But I've always done that. I've always liked it. And I think they liked me too. And
so did my grandmother end up being a teacher?
Did she what?
End up being a teacher?
Yeah, sure. Grandmother was a teacher.
For a long time?
Sure. She was not only a teacher, she was a good teacher. During the Depression, when things were so very, very difficult, I was working at that time at the Talmud Torah, and they couldn't afford to, pay, so I got a job with the state as a